Grandfather drugs, also known as grandfathered drugs, are medications that were approved for use before the modern regulatory framework for pharmaceuticals was established. These drugs were introduced and used without undergoing the same rigorous clinical trials, safety assessments, and efficacy evaluations that new drugs must go through today. The term, grandfathered drugs, comes from the idea that these drugs were grandfathered in, or allowed to remain on the market despite not meeting current regulatory standards. The history of grandfathered drugs can be traced back to the early days of the pharmaceutical industry, which emerged in the 19th and early 20th centuries. During this time, various remedies and medications were developed by visionary scientists and entrepreneurs to treat a wide range of ailments. However, unlike today's strict regulatory landscape, these early drugs were not subject to extensive testing and scrutiny before reaching the market. As the pharmaceutical industry matured and concerns about drug safety and efficacy grew, regulatory agencies, such as the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, were established to oversee the approval and marketing of new drugs. These agencies set stringent standards for clinical trials, safety evaluations, and manufacturing practices to protect public health and ensure drug efficacy. Grandfather drugs, having been introduced before these modern regulatory agencies were established, were not automatically subjected to the new regulations. Instead, they were allowed to remain on the market without meeting the same requirements as new drugs. This status granted them a certain level of exemption from the more extensive approval processes applied to contemporary pharmaceuticals. Key facts about grandfather drugs. 1. Prevalence. It is estimated that a significant percentage of drugs currently on the market fall under the category of grandfather drugs. This is due to the many medications that were approved before stringent regulatory processes were implemented. 2. Iconic examples. Some well-known drugs, such as aspirin and morphine, were originally introduced without the benefit of modern clinical trials. These medications have become essential in modern medicine and continue to be widely used today. 3. Safety concerns. The existence of grandfather drugs has occasionally led to debates and discussions concerning their safety and efficacy compared to newer drugs that undergo extensive testing. Regulatory aspects of grandfather drugs. Modern regulatory agencies have established specific guidelines for handling grandfather drugs to ensure that they meet current safety standards. Before a grandfather drug can be marketed, it must undergo a comprehensive review to demonstrate its safety, efficacy, and compliance with contemporary regulations. This evaluation aims to ensure that patients receive medications that are both effective and safe, even for drugs introduced before modern regulatory standards were in place. Impact on patient care. Grandfather drugs have both positive and negative implications for patient care. On the positive side, these medications have been a reliable and cost-effective option for patients, particularly for treating chronic conditions. They have a long history of use and are often available at more affordable prices than newer alternatives. However, some grandfather drugs may lack the advancements and refinements seen in newer medications, potentially leading to suboptimal treatment in certain cases. This underscores the importance of ongoing research, monitoring, and updating of drug standards to ensure patients receive the best possible care. In conclusion, grandfather drugs hold significant historical importance in the pharmaceutical industry. Understanding their history, facts, and regulatory aspects helps ensure that patients receive safe and effective medications while acknowledging the legacy of these pioneering drugs that have shaped modern medicine.